big welcome to our audience this afternoon, joining us at Arena Academy, an audience from Singers Hill Synagogue, from the heart of Birmingham's Jewish community, and we're thrilled to have that audience with us today. I'm Paul Davis. I'm a digital artist working with the Core Education Trust and specifically for Arena Academy. And my role today is to provide a little bit of digital glue to today's presentation. Before we meet the students and before we see some more of our audience, I'm going to ask Mr. Raj Mann, the head teacher from Arena, to give us a few words of welcome. Over to you, Mr. Mann.
Thank you. I am very proud to be the head teacher here at Arena Academy and part of the Core Education Trust. Now, Echo Eternal is an arts, media and civic engagement education project that brings our students and others from West Midlands schools together, whatever their social, their cultural, their religious context, with a common goal, with paying tribute to the Holocaust and genocide survivors. Now, unfortunately, during this COVID lockdown, it's prevented us from putting an arts piece together that was going to be performed today to commemorate the life of Hedi Frankl and all the other Holocaust survivors and victims. But Echo Eternal also has a civic engagement goal, and the students are remaining concentrated on this, giving something to the wider community despite the difficult times and challenging times that we are living in at the moment. Now, the project and the work that you'll see today preserves the truth of the survivors' testimony and allows creative expression of children to promote messages of peace, unity, and civic optimism, so that never again is a reality, not just a slogan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mann, for those warm words to welcome us. And then it's my pleasure now to introduce Miss Hall, who is the lead teacher from Arena Academy, who's been working with Echo Eternal, and she's going to introduce you to our wonderful Eternal Flames. Miss Hall.
Oh, good afternoon. Can I just say we are absolutely thrilled that you've taken the time to join us. We are really, really appreciative of you taking the time to learn more about Echo Eternal and our survivors' testimony. I have the privilege here at Arena Academy to work with some of the most amazing students, and I'd really like to introduce three of our Eternal Flames. So I'm going to start off with Millie.
Hello. I'm going to explain what it is to be an eternal flame. So as an eternal flame, we are the guardians and Holocaust survivors. We protect Holocaust survivors' testimonies, and we inspire and are empowered by using our voice to spread their messages.
Okay, so I believe an eternal flame is someone who is able to honor the survivor's testimony and make sure that all facts are met. And also, we want to be able to pass on her testimony and make sure that everyone understands the horrors of the Holocaust and what has happened to our survivor and many others.
And at 3 o'clock in the morning, during the night, there was a big banging on the door where I lived, and opened the door, the police. So, of course, they woke up, my landlord woke up and went to the door to see who it is. And these two plainclothes detectives, they identified themselves, and they said, "You're harboring a Jewish girl." And my landlord and landlady said, "Oh no, we don't have any Jewish girl in this place. We've only got Borishka here." "Ah, but you don't know that Borishka is a Jewish girl." "Oh no, she can't be."
Well, it's very important because I think it's right to pass on the message and just to make sure that the world knows that discrimination isn't right and there's only one race, the human race.
Well, anyway, they arrested me. I had to pack my clothes. The landlord and landlady were threatened that they will have to be punished for harboring a Jewish girl. And I told the detectives, but they didn't know I was Jewish. Please don't hurt them.
Hedi Frankl was born in Hungary, May 8, 1927. She went into hiding in Vienna in a Christian family. Before being captured and taken into a factory in Stasov, Austria, There, she made friends with a girl, Alice, who stuck with her throughout the war.
Chloe, if you can pick up, please.
They escaped to Vienna together with the help of a foreman at the factory, and then went back to Hungary when the war finished. Hedi was reunited with her only surviving family member, her brother, and was brought to Great Britain by an uncle who had moved here before the war. Sadly, Hedi passed away in October of 2020.
I feel like Hedi's words have inspired me as a whole, as well as our school, Arena Academy, because throughout Hedi's testimony, she said she wants the future generation to take the lesson from her testimony and make sure mistakes are not repeated, because she doesn't want the future generation to suffer what she suffered. And when I heard that unfortunate she passed, I was very heartbroken, because I felt like she got through the war. So I would think she would get through this huge crisis that's happening in the UK.
Thank you. Thank you, Parina. I'm going to hand over now to Miss Hall and all of our student friends to talk about a pledge that they have made together, which is based on that testimony from Hedi. Miss Hall.
Hello there. As Paul says, we've been using Hedi's testimony to help develop a school pledge. We really want to be able to make a difference in the lives of people and those in our local community. And our students have worked really hard in developing this pledge.
The pledge was created by a Year 7 English class who learnt about Hedi's words of courage and kindness, also to not make the same mistake again.
In Hedi Frankl's name, we pledge to share her testimony and have been inspired to be the personification of courage and kindness by offering words of comfort and support to those who are sick, isolated and suffering.
The Year 7s are the youngest students in our school, and they are our future generations after us, which is why they performed a poem about Hedi Frankl's testimony and her pledge. They created this with her words of courage and kindness and also putting it into their own words.
The Year 7s had spent weeks learning about the Holocaust and looking at all the facts and figures. Then they'd watched a video explaining and discussing Hedi's testimony. After all the knowledge they'd gained from this, they'd completed Amplify, which is an online engagement program using the Holocaust testimony to inspire action.
Can you tell me about those word choices, please?
We used the words inspire and courage and kindness because they were some key words in Hedi's testimony. Like she showed the courage and kindness to go on and to survive such a dreadful event. And we use inspired because we need all the younger generations to be inspired by Hedi's testimony to carry on and to make the world a better place in the future.
They talked about kindness, which was obviously inspired by Hedi, and realised because of this virus going around, we need to be even kinder. So we decided together to make a pledge inspired by Hedi's story. And the pledge was to help people who are sick and alone due to COVID-19.
This testimony and the pledge personifies our actions and stuff we need to carry out in the future.
In Hedi Frankl's name, we pledge to share her testimony and have been inspired to be the personification of courage and kindness by offering words of comfort and support to those who are sick, isolating and suffering. We will do this by sending cards with personal messages from our students to those in hospitals, care homes and our community each school term.
I'm going to ask the students now to talk us through how they've got to know Hedi, how they've become friends of Hedi, and how they've come to know all about her and her journey. And I wonder, Kian, if you could start us off with that one, please, and just tell us a little bit about the numbers of times you've viewed and the ways that you've studied Hedi's words. Kian.
Well, I mean, we've watched Hedi's testimonies, and the more I studied it and the more I found out about Hedi's journey, it just becomes heartbreaking for you. But it's like you get heartbreaking moments, but you also get to see her courageous moments where she's actually stuck up for herself, where she isn't tolerating it. And that, to me, that's a lovely human being.
Thank you, Cian. Karina, can you add to that and tell us about how you started to look behind the words and at some of the meaning behind the words? And once you'd watched Hedi perhaps 4 or 5 times, there were some very strong concepts coming out that have strengthened you as a school community.
After like evaluating and watching Hedi's testimony, I feel like it has strengthened our school and our school community because Hedi was really like sad and suffering on her journey. So I feel like that was all a lesson for us to take.
Can you tell me, Karina, about some of the particular words and concepts that came out from the testimony, some of the individual things there?
Yeah, the particular strong words that stood out to me was 5. 5 meant that because she spent 5 days and 5 nights in a train suffering with no water, no food, and with a crowd of 80 people doing their businesses and the whole room stenching. I'm a musician explains when she met 2 girls in a music shop means that I'm a Jew and you're a Jew, so we can relate to each other. So they use that as a covert or disguise quote.
Sorry, Karina, can I just interrupt? Why is it so important then at this moment? Obviously, Hedi's talking about connecting with people and relating to people in her testimony. Why is that so important, Hedi's lesson there during this current time? Why is it so important that we connect with people?
It's important to connect with any people, no matter what race they are, what religion they are, because when Hedi was in hiding with a Christian family, she finally got to expose her religion to 2 other girls who were also a Jew who could share her experiences.
Fantastic.
I'd like to ask all the students now to recite to us a poem. It's a poem that they have written between them, and it's a poem that explores their pledge, pledging to be the light in the darkness. Over to you, Shaquille.
We pledge to be the light in the darkness. We pledge to be the light in the darkness and never repeat past mistakes again. We pledge to be kind to those suffering in isolation and to support others during their time of need.
Suffering often leaves its victims heartbroken and missing loved ones. Days are long, hours are slow. We offer our words to comfort and kindness to get you through these dark days. If you are suffering, remember the sun will break through the clouds and the rain will stop soon.
We need to stick together. We must show strength like Hedi Frankl, show courage through these tough times. Decades ago, people were snatched from their families, all because of their religion, race, or ability. For 5 days and 5 nights they suffered. Human beings treated like cattle.
We pledge to be the light in the darkness. We pledge to support those who are still suffering in the world. You are not alone. We are not alone. We all stand together as one. Even though there is darkness right now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Brave people are saving lives and risking their own each day. Their courage roars like a cry of lion. The days are long and never ending. But remember, the lightness and the shortness of the day will return once more.
Do not hate for the sake of hating. Instead, share the good times. Hedi is not alone anymore. Neither are we. This year, this time, we will all shine.
We pledge to be the light in the darkness.
Thank you so much. We've heard about the inspiration, and we've heard about the emotion that our students have experienced from this study of Hedi's testimony. But the school felt very much that wasn't sufficient, that actually emotion without action is baseless. And the great majority of the work this term has been about doing something about the testimony, this civic engagement. I'm going to hand over again to our eternal flames and to ask Finn, first of all, to tell us a little bit about the inspiration that Hedi's words have given you to do something in the current national crisis. Finn, over to you.
Well, Hedi's words have inspired us to write cards with personal messages to local care homes and hospitals to help them get through these dark times.
We're doing this by creating an area on our school website where staff, students, parents, carers, and members of our community can share examples of courage and kindness. And we need kindness right now because it's a sad time, and if people aren't kind, it will hurt people even more than it already is. And people can also leave their own individual pledges using our school's pledges inspiration.
Fantastic. Why is that important, Chloe? What are we hoping to do in terms of involvement in our community?
So people can share their own experiences, and so that they know that they're not alone with how they have been treated.
We've created these little postcards, and we're trying to get through to people about Hedi Frankl and who she was as a person. And we have put websites and links on the back of the postcard, and we're going to help. That's to help the community learn, which will send you to a sort of website, and it'll help the community learn more about Hedi and other people, and they can share with us their acts of kindness, courage, and they can tell us how they've been inspired by our pledge.
Going out into the public and posting postcards about what's been going on is something new to me, and I've never done it before, and it's definitely inspired me to do more kindness in the community and to spread the message even louder than it was originally thought to do.
So we have a banner on our front gate which has invited people to join and share with us where they have been kind and courageous through Twitter.
Millie, I noticed that there's a beautiful almond tree, absolutely stunning, that appears on the card.
So almond tree, it's an ancient symbol for renewal and hope. It links well to being a light in this darkness.
Days are long, hours are slow. We offer our words of comfort and kindness to get you through these dark days. If you are suffering, remember, the sun will break through the clouds and the rain will soon stop.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Ms. Hall, and thank you to all the eternal flames. Wow, this has been an amazing afternoon, and if I could just begin by giving a round of applause and asking everyone in the audience to join, because what each and every one of you have done today has been truly something special, fantastic, and unique. Over the years, and especially at this time of year, I'm often invited to come to schools or to other places and to see what's been done in the way of education of the Holocaust. But what you've done today, especially with all the limitations of lockdown and each and every one of you being at home and all the difficulties that comes with, has really been something truly inspiring. And something else which has been really motivating and inspiring is just that you've taken it to the next level. You know, in Hebrew, we speak about the concept in the ethics of the fathers of emor me'at v'aseh harbe, to speak a little but to do a lot. And that's exactly what you've done. Yes, you've learned about things, you've written poems and you've written cards, but really what stands out more than anything and what makes you into an eternal flame, in my opinion, is the work and the action which comes with it. You've reached out into the community, you've shared that love, you've shared that light, and that's symbolized by the almond tree, which in the Jewish faith has such significance, because the idea of a tree, and especially a tree which bears fruits, means that there is a future. And what happened in the Holocaust and the tragedies of the Holocaust, by the fact that this carries on the lessons which have been learnt, and the fact that these people's lives are never being forgotten, means that the fruit of these trees still continues on for generations to come. And I'm reminded of the story in the Talmud of the man who was walking along the street and he saw an old man planting a tree. And he said to him, "Why are you planting the tree?" He said, "When will you have fruit from the tree?" And he said, "The fruit will not come for many years." So he said, "Why are you bothering? You won't even be alive." And he said, "You know what? I'm planting the tree for the future." And that's exactly what you've done here today. You've planted seeds. You've given ideas to people to think about how they could become better human beings, how they could reach out to people within their community, within society. You here, from within your school setting, from within your homes, have the ability to change the entire world for good. You have the ability to bring light to the entire world. In Hebrew, the word for light is or b'choshech, light in the darkness. That's what you've done. You've brought light into the darkness, and especially during these difficult, dark times of the pandemic, when many of us are feeling overwhelmed, lonely, people are suffering all around, and you've brought light to people. And I think there's so much that you've brought together, and I love the idea that you're going to give this tree, which remembers Hedi and the life that she lived, and you're giving that to the Andrew Cohen home, because that's where many Holocaust survivors spent their last years of life there. In fact, there are some that I could think today, those who were directly affected by the Holocaust in one way or another, who are still living there, and they will see that tree, and that will give them hope to realize that there is a future, and that there are children in the world who believe in making this world a better place, a brighter place, and can see an even better future. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you. What a testament this is to the life that Hedi lived. As we say, may her memory be for a blessing. I'm only sorry that she's not able to be here today to be able to see the wonderful work that I and others from Singers Hill have been privileged to see. I'm looking forward later on today to be able to light up Singers Hill and to be able to film this from the outside, symbolizing that we're lighting up the world even during the dark times, this time of year when we're remembering the Holocaust, and of course these dark times now when we're trying to add more light into the world, spreading loving kindness to all of humanity and beyond. Thank you very much. Thank you to each and every one of you. What a privilege this has been today to have been able to take part in this project. Thank you.
But I would just like to thank them all. It has just been absolutely brilliant. Thank you all very much.
Everyone here has demonstrated that they know so much about the Holocaust. They've looked up words. They've learned about the history of what happened, the suffering that took place. I'm just wondering how much people knew about the Holocaust before. You know, at the moment, this time of year, where it's all about Holocaust awareness, and it would just be interesting to know how much the students knew before they got involved in this project. How much did they know about the Holocaust before that?
Start us off, Shaquille.
So originally I knew what the Holocaust was, but when you go more in depth, you know about the front figures of how many people died, and it was a tragedy. But you don't know about the singular people, which was definitely what I'd learned about the people that were affected by this, the actual people. So there's figures and there's numbers, but then we don't hear about names. So this was one of the first names I've ever heard about who had been affected, and all the struggles they'd been through and how they tried to hide or protect themselves from being persecuted due to their race, religion, or them being alive.
And I remember, Perina, you saying to me that you'd come to know Hedi. It was like you knew all about her, like she was almost somebody from your family. She'd become special to you, hasn't she?
Yeah, she became very special to me because, like, going back on Shaquille's point, I didn't know what a Holocaust was, but I didn't know like specific people who suffered the very negative impact that it had. So when I heard Hedi Frankl's name and I dig deeper and evaluated her story in detail, I felt like I could connect to her. After reading all of the feelings and understanding them, I feel like she was a part of me.
To finish our time together, I'm going to ask in the final moments for all of our students, but particularly Millie, Shaquille and Finn, our three eternal flames, to read for us one last time the pledge that they have created in memory of Hedi, and for us all to use this moment to think about what that work means today for the community in and around Arena Academy in Perry Barr, the work that's going on in that community, thinking of those who today have received their postcard or have walked past that banner and now are tuned in to the Holocaust, what Holocaust Memorial and Commemoration means, and what this testimony means to our eternal flames. Over to you, Millie, Shaquille and Finn. I'll lead you in. In Hedi Frankl's name, we pledge to share
her testimony and have been inspired to be the personification of courage and kindness by offering words of comfort and support to those who are sick, isolating and suffering. We will do this by sending cards with personal messages from our students, those in hospitals, care homes and our community each school term.
Thank you all. Ms Hall, I'm sure you'd like to just give a vote of thanks to our visitors before I sign off.
I would. Rabbi Jacobs, thank you so much for attending this and for your kind words and for all of the support with Singers Hill. We are very honoured to have worked in partnership with you, so thank you so much. Truly from the heart. We appreciate it. Absolutely, words can't express the depth of it. And also to all of the audience members, your participation, it's been wonderful, and I think it's really helped our students engage more with Hedi's testimony. It's been a real pleasure to have you with us this afternoon, and I thank you so much. And on behalf of Arena Academy and our students, we hope that this is the start of a really long-lasting relationship with Singers Hill and the Jewish community, and we are committed in making sure that Hedi's testimony stays alive and that we continually echo it and act in her name. So thank you very much.
When I think about what happened to my people and what happened to me in particular in my family, I would like to say to the young generation, learn and don't make the same mistakes again. Don't let it ever happen again. That is my message.